Queen Ampera nodded her head gracefully to the people and dug her nails into her daughter's arm as she led her to the front of the aisle. "No, you turned down our suggestions for so long, we had to do it for you. And, due to the atrocious manners you've picked up at that so-called school of yours, with their foreign ideas, this is the only pure-blooded noble who would have you." Her mother sighed. "I don't understand it. You used to be such a good, sweet Dumovnian girl." The older woman grimaced and looked down the aisle. "So go on, then. Say hello to your future husband." "Una, my little apple blossom," her father cooed, trying to appease her, and held out his hand. Her own shook as she took it. "May I present to you Lord Rupert Gornook, your betrothed." Una's core turned to ice as she turned to stare at the figure at the end of the aisle, who, on her father's words, bounded with a barely disguised hop in his step towards her. She had gone numb, but she heard Margit snigger as the Toadman bowed before her and snatched up her hand. It was tiny in his large webbed ones, and she could barely contain her shudder as he placed a kiss on it. She felt mucus drip through her fingers. "Manners, Una," her mother hissed, and the princess's knees buckled into a curtsy. As she raised her head, she caught sight of her intended in all his horrific glory. He was enormous, towering over her, his round belly wobbling as he moved. His eyes were so bulbous they seemed to stick out from his head. They filled with light as the slit of his mouth that spread from one tiny ear to the other lifted in a parody of a reassuring smile. "My lady," he said, bowing again, this time snatching the feathered velvet cap from his head with a flourish. Una balked at the sight of a large pustule-like wart on his brow and wished he had kept it on. "I am not worthy." "No," she thought as she tried to force a smile to her lips and failed. "No, you are not." She could barely trust herself to speak, but felt a sharp finger in her ribs. "It is a pleasure to meet you, Lord Gornook," she whispered. "You must forgive my entrance. I was unaware of the occasion." The Crostack placed a hand on his belly, threw back his head and laughed. It was a deep, booming sound that set her teeth on edge. "Not at all, your highness. You showed me your unbridled spirit." He held out his arm, and she placed a hand on it gingerly so he could escort her back into the banqueting hall. He leaned closer and dropped his voice. "And I do like my women with spirit." Una almost gagged on the sour bile that rose up the back of her throat at his words. She glanced over her shoulder and glared at her parents, walking arm in arm behind them, smiling at the people. How could they? They were marrying her off to a disgusting toad. She would never forgive them for this. Never.